Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. There's not a lot of activity today as far as production or with new vehicles, and that's because they just had this delivery event on the 30th of September here at Giga Texas, and the quarter has ended. Right now they are retooling the lines and preparing for the fourth quarter. I did get a chance to be at that delivery event here at Giga Texas. I got a lot of that video, a lot of ground shots as well on my previous video, so make sure you take a look at that. But it was super exciting, and the employees were really pumped up about being able to see their customers pick up their vehicles for the first time. Now the efforts really paid off. As you can see, today we got the results: 12.5 gigawatt hours of energy storage products, 447,500 or so production, and 497,100 delivered to vehicles, both of which were records. And also, the third quarter 2025 financial results meeting is coming up on Wednesday, the 22nd of October here at Giga Texas. You'll be able to follow along with the Tesla Investor Relations website. Link is at the bottom of the screen. And shifting gears, we're going to just point out that I was at Las Vegas and I got a chance to tour the Boring Company and also the Vegas Loop. And I did spend some time down at the Las Vegas Strip. This is over at their operations center. When I went in, I met with Matt Weber. He gave me a great tour around the entire site, and we drove through much of the tunnels underneath the city, at least the existing tunnels right now. I also go into a lot of detail about the proof rock tunnel boring machines, the techniques that they use, and also some insight onto some of the screens and technology that is used for the Vegas Loop vehicles. Of course, driving through the tunnels was exciting and just very interesting to see how the entire operations work and how all the tunnels are connected together, plus the work that is ongoing to extend that tunnel system. Now, they're able to handle at peak a little more than 1,800 passengers per hour, and the loop itself is expanding to eventually be 68 miles of tunnels, and that's going to take a few more years and to complete. Of course, this is the airport tunnel section, and this is going to be connecting the north part of downtown of the strip of Las Vegas to the airport, and that work is ongoing right now. So anyway, take a look at that video. A lot to see, a lot of information, and just a great tour around the city in the tunnels, and I hope that you enjoy that video. So check it out. So now it's time to get into the drone, fly around, and see what Giga Texas looks like today. Also, have a great weekend.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description.
If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you.
My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. As you can see, it's a beautiful day to fly here at Giga Texas. Over on the west side is where we will begin, looking at the end of line and the outbound lot. You can see it's a lot less activity than we saw just a couple of days ago at that end of quarter direct delivery event. That was just amazing to see, and it was just so many people, so much excitement, so much energy during that event. And also you can clearly see that the outbound lot is mostly empty. Just a few vehicles left, and those are all out with their customers, and part of that big third quarter delivery that we got. The numbers about 497,100 worldwide, which was a all-time record. So of course, now we're in the fourth quarter, everything begins again, and we'll see how they do this quarter. A lot of big exciting announcements should be coming very soon as far as new products and full self-driving, robotaxi, all of those things. Starting at the west staging yard, we can see that the transformers really haven't changed much. However, more and more equipment that's been stored in this side of this staging yard lot has been moved inside the factory. In fact, we're going to see more of that going into the structural pack part of the factory here a little later in the video. But much of this equipment here is slated for that area of the factory. There are a few new deliveries as well, but overall, the amount of the equipment staged here is reducing, which is great to see, since that means it's being installed in the factory. Now, as we cross over the power lines, I'll bring the drone down here, just show you that they've consolidated much of the wooden crates with production line equipment here on the kind of the east side of this structure. And next to it is all of these transformers. Really no change in the transformers, but the amount of equipment, the crates, and some of the other items that have been around here clearly dwindled. Now we do see a delivery here, at least on this trailer, in the kind of silver wrap. All of the green wrapped items are still over on this side of this staging yard. You can tell with the dust that they are collecting. They've been here for a while, and still I have not seen much movement of this material. As we continue to maneuver around, look back towards the main factory, this gives you kind of a sense of what this staging yard looks like. Again, all of the equipment that was right in the middle of the screen has been moved inside the factory for installation into their new product and production lines. As we come over towards the south side of the tent structure, I did notice these items on the trailer. I'll zoom in. This is what it looks like, kind of that silver wrap with some white underneath it, and pretty large if you compare to the trailer size. 3 of them just barely fit. So more of the similar items have been delivered and are on pallets here waiting for their turn to be moved in. We do see some of the yard trucks nearby and the forklifts, so it's possible that those are going to be loaded up and moved over to the factory. In fact, some of the equipment that we're seeing over here we will see again on the east side of the main factory. Now I'm going to cross up over the power lines again. I wanted to just get a quick look at the caisson that is on this side of the highway. The thing I'll point out is that most of the liners that were on the surface have been placed into the tunnel that extends to the south underneath the Colorado River. And you can tell here what this activity looks like. And with all of those liners gone, that means that most of the work that is going on here is, I don't know if it's not finished, but it's getting very, very close. Now, one of the things I also wanted to point out with the Cyber Tunnel, I pointed this out in my Boring Company tunnel, is the Boring Company calls the structure above the tunnel the igloo. So that technically means that this Cyber Tunnel is really the igloo tunnel, or the cyber igloo, or whatever. But I thought that was pretty neat, and first time I had heard that. So again, if you look at that Boring Company video, you're going to learn a lot of things such as that. Just flying over the end of line, the superchargers that we see here on the south side of the end of line. Many of the tents that were put up for the delivery event are being taken down, and they're kind of returning this entire site back to its original operation standpoint. Of course, there's the track where we were driving the kid-sized Cybertrucks, and where most of the activity was going on underway on Tuesday. So anyway, that's it for this side. Let's cross over the highway and take a look at some of the deliveries that are happening today. As I mentioned, some of that equipment that we saw on the west side has been delivered here. A few of these items are wrapped in this kind of yellow wrapping. We see some others on that forklift getting ready to be moved over here to be picked up by the crane and then put up onto this platform. So we can definitely see that more and more equipment is continuing to stream into the building. Also, more here on the yard trucks waiting their turns for all of this to be loaded up. Some of them are the green wrapped items, which we have seen over on that far southwest corner. So that may mean that we're going to see more of that coming up. Taking a look at the berm next to the flag poles, we can see more of those concrete segments. Also the grass kind of matting along this berm, and just Not a lot of activity at the factory today. Again, the General Assembly is not operational for today and the rest of this week, and we'll probably see that start up again next week. There is a lot of activity on the south end here of the berm, where more of the trench boxes, more of the pipes, more of the underground system for the wastewater is being added in. Of course, this structure next to the caisson continues to be excavated. They are putting in those kind of retaining walls, using those I-beams to hold it up, and they're putting in some supports along the walls to help keep them from collapsing in. And you can tell that they're lowering down some more items through there. And there's a pump truck getting ready to pump some concrete. And I don't know if that's going to be at the bottom of that pit. It looks like it might be, but that'll be something that we can take a look at on the next trip. There's also some more concrete vaults that have been added here to this section. As we get down to the south end, take a look at what is going on the south side of the river road. More of the trench boxes and excavation with some of the trenches filled in. Some of the auger drills around this area. In fact, there's some right here next to these trench boxes, and they're kind of strewn all around this entire site. There's another truck with some more of the equipment that we saw being loaded up over on the west side. That's headed over towards the secondary main entrance and will be lifted up on a platform, and we will see that again here momentarily. Of course, the trenching is continuing here next to the cooling plant, and as I kind of look around the corner, you can tell that they've got these kind of plywood walls around the top of that temporary platform, but otherwise a lot of the equipment has been moved away from this section. Does look like 6 of 6 fan units of the cooling unit are in operation. Maybe that means that Cortex 1 is busy churning out a lot more information and data for full self-driving version 14. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Now, River Road extension is continuing to get wider here. We can see some gravel being placed. They've been raising up the grade on this south side. Looks like it's going to be a very large roadway, maybe 2 lanes either way, coming up to this intersection. And then off to the right through the trees, it will eventually be extended, and it will kind of follow the Colorado River around over towards where the cathode plant is located. But this is a great view of that intersection work that is underway right now. As I come back in towards the parking garage, I saw a few vehicles driving around on the roof. It looks like they may be just employee vehicle cars. They look like they're the older variants of the vehicles, and really not much more to see there. So I'll keep the zoom in. We'll look at the staging yard here with some of those green pipes, some of the concrete pipe segments. And it looks like the number of equipment here is also dwindling, which means that it's being used up over on that berm work that we've seen before. So I'm going to kind of maneuver around and zoom in. We'll see what is going on here on the east side of the factory. We see some of those kind of rack mounts on the left. Here is where recycling is underway. Most of the bins look like they are empty right now, and probably just because there's not a lot of production going on right now. I did notice that there are some robotic assemblers being moved out of this truck, being placed next to the kind of the concrete dividers, and more equipment is coming out of that truck right now. Most likely going to go up into that platform. There are a lot more equipment on the ground here next to the receiving doors, and that has been here for some time with a little bit of movement of the inventory, but mostly it's just been sitting there. Here at this temporary platform and the garbage chute, we can see what that looks like today. Of course, another delivery happening with those blue covered tarp items. And then as we move further to the north, you can see again that truck with the equipment items that we saw driving on River Road and coming over from the west side. It's all getting ready to be lifted up onto that platform. It does look like they put some kind of safety walls around the tops of each of those platforms as well. That appears to be new, at least to me. As we continue to fly further to the north, we're going to pass this temporary platform, which goes to the second floor over the casting machine section. And then, of course, more of the castings on the ground. There are a lot of the ones in the center that are for Model Ys, apparently. And you can see how that looks. And then we have a lot of empty racks here in the middle section. And the melt center is still busy. It looks like they're getting ready to melt down more of those scrapped aluminum wheels, and the work to install that second furnace loading system continues just underneath that canopy. A little bit shaded today with the lighting at the time that I'm flying, but you can see some more parts of that loading system next to that trailer. As I kind of panned towards the north, you can see what this casting sorting lot looks like today. A lot of empty casting racks waiting for more work on the casting machines to fill those back up and then start making more vehicles. As I cross over Tesla Road, I wanted to come up to where the Megapack and the electrical Switchyard extension is underway. There is a lot of activity that is going on, and I think that's another very positive sign. Here at Megapack 2 on the north end, this kind of control box or the structure has all of the doors open, so they are most likely doing some additional connections to finish up this installation. The cable trays on the bottom have all been finished up, and almost all of them have the covers installed. I did notice that there are concrete vault items being placed here, and the conduit extending out from that large underground vault with the 3 control containers on top. And that looks like this is going to be a branching point for all of this electrical conduit. A lot more in bundles, so we're going to see more of this work underway. Also, big news is that the first steel vertical assembly for the electrical switchyard expansion is now happening. And this is what it looks like right now. They're attaching those to the footings that they are under construction all throughout this area. And as I kind of pan the drone around back towards the existing switchyard, you can kind of match up these vertical poles with the ones that already exist. And again, this is going to kind of mirror what we see in the top of the screen. So as I continue to maneuver up towards the north, we can see that more work with the augers, rebar cages, and preparation to make more of these footings. Some of them have the forms around them, which means that they're very close to getting more concrete. So the work is definitely moving along pretty quickly from the south to the north. And that actually is a little bit different than how they built the original one. The original one they built from the north to the south and then put the transformers in last. I also noticed more equipment, more steel items. A lot of this is going to be used for that vertical structure of the switchyard. Has been brought here on the north side and being stored. And this is a great sign too. That means that they're getting ready to start accelerating even further that vertical assembly. So let's maneuver over towards Cortex 2 and see some of the changes, one of which is all of these concrete pipe segments that have been delivered. In addition to that, we see this excavation proceeding up to the north and into this kind of drainage ditch, and you can see what the concrete pipes look like. This kind of extends the entire length of the west side of Cortex 2 under the ground, and looks like it's mostly for that water management system to prevent flooding. As I zoom in, we can see that there is some excavation work going on this kind of hallway on the 1 column width on the west side, and they have that retaining wall with that black kind of water barrier along it. So I expect the grade to be filled back up there soon. More pipes on the ground in this staging yard, and those kind of platforms in the upper left. Looks like some of those have been moved, and I still have not figured out where they are. Looking in through this opening, we can see some trenching, and also there's a lot of ground still, so the ground slab has not reached up to this point inside yet. There is a lot of work with the roof going on. It's mostly on this north side now. And they're just pre-positioning some of the equipment and materials that is needed to finish up this entire section. And if you look back to the right, or at least as I pan, you can tell where the roof is completed, and a lot of dirt on it as the roof turns to kind of a tan color towards the south. This is a great view along the west side, just showing you where the grade is being lifted up and filling in the trenches for all those concrete pipe segments that run along this entire section. As we get farther to the south, you'll note that the grade does come up next to that kind of black weatherproof or waterproof membrane along the perimeter grade beam where the workers are. And even further to the south, you can see how much that grade has come up. It's probably about a meter and a half of grade leveling on this side, and it is higher than on the east side. Here's that temporary warehouse. And as I kind of maneuver around, I'll try to zoom back in to see what the kind of hallway looks like here on the west side from this area. You can see the Bobcat at work, that black material on that retaining wall, and how they are working on the grade inside this part of the facility. As I turn back towards the east, kind of just an overall view of what's going on here on the south end. Some more equipment has been delivered on the ground, waiting for its turn to be installed. And of course, inside here, we can tell that the ground slab has already been completed on this side of the building. And of course, that new transformer has been installed as we just flew over. Looking down the east side, a great view of all of the activity. Most of the walls are completed except around where the openings are. And it looks like that will happen a little bit later. We do see this gravel mix coming out of this opening. Part of it, I think, is mud control because they do have the slab poured inside this part of the building. In fact, it extends past this open door and this door, most likely past where we see the garbage chute, and maybe even past the next opening. So that ground slab work is definitely progressing. As I kind of maneuver the drone around here over this excavator, we see some of the workshops and equipment next to the Keystone temporary workshop, some of the forms on the ground, some other equipment, and as I zoom in, this area here is still being prepared. Some form work going on inside for that ground slab, but it has not quite reached here. I do see some yellow of that moisture barrier, so that means that they are getting closer to the point where we may see concrete poured through here. As I kind of maneuver around the light post, views inside, plus some more of the deliveries of materials for the roofing. I'll kind of follow this along, showing you how it's being lifted up and where it's going onto the roof. And just an overall great shot of just activity that is ongoing here on this part of the site. Last major area that we're going to look at today is the east side of the cathode building. Of course, more of those green transformers being stored here. One of the three major areas on the site having transformers. As we get in closer to the crash testing facility, you can tell along that black fence on the side closest to the cathode building, a lot of the vehicles that had been crash testing had been moved off for recycling. So they're kind of cleaning up this entire area. The structure in the right-hand side of the screen is where the flying floor is temporarily stored when it's not being used. Of course, the crash testing facility itself. And most of the ground area around where the fences are, again, the vehicles have been moved away. Now, I did notice this grouping. They were here before on my previous video, but this is vehicles that are getting ready to be recycled. They've already had the crash testing done, and they no longer need them. So that's a quick view here on today, getting ready for the weekend at Giga Texas. Great reviews as far as the delivery event and also the returns, looking at the third quarter results, record-breaking for new vehicle deliveries and also for energy storage products. I think Tesla is definitely hitting its stride, and I just want to say congratulations again to all of the Tesla employees for working so hard to meet those milestones. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.